The man who once declared war on the system, who stood on that stage in 2011 and tore apart everything WWE represented, who screamed about change and revolution until his voice went hoarse, is now standing side by side with the very thing he swore to destroy. CM Punk, the voice of the voiceless, the straight-edge savior who promised to tear down the machine, has become a cog in that exact same machine. And tonight, we're going to expose exactly how the rebel became the establishment, how the revolutionary became everything he once hated, and why his alliance with Roman Reigns might be the most shocking betrayal in modern wrestling history. You know what? Before we dive into this rabbit hole, I need you to do something for me. If you've ever felt betrayed by someone you believed in, if you've ever watched a hero become a villain, this video is going to hit you right in the soul. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, because SLAMZONE is the only place where we don't just watch wrestling, we feel it, we live it, we bleed it. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to need this community. You're going to need people who understand exactly what this means. So subscribe, drop a comment telling me if you think Punk sold out, and let's build this family together. Now, let's get into it. Picture this. It's June 27, 2011. Money in the Bank is 3 weeks away. CM Punk sits down on that stage in Las Vegas, legs crossed, microphone in hand, and he does something that WWE had never seen before. He tells the truth. Raw, unfiltered, brutal truth. He calls out Triple H. He calls out John Cena. He calls out Vince McMahon himself. He says the words that still echo in arenas today, "I am the best in the world." And you know what made that moment legendary? It wasn't just what he said. It was who he said it to. Punk looked directly into the camera and spoke to us, the fans who were tired of being told what to like, tired of watching the same chosen ones get pushed while real talent got buried. Punk wasn't just cutting a promo. He was starting a revolution. That microphone became a weapon. Every word was a bullet aimed at the corporate structure of WWE. He talked about how Vince McMahon was a millionaire who should be a billionaire. He exposed the politics, the nepotism, the way guys who kissed the ring got opportunities while guys who actually earned it got nothing. And we believed him. We believed every single word because CM Punk was different. He didn't look like a WWE superstar. He didn't act like one. He had tattoos, he wore basketball shorts and a t-shirt, he didn't play their game. He was the anti-establishment, the rebel with a cause, the guy who would rather walk away with his dignity than stay and compromise his soul. And he did walk away. In 2014, CM Punk left WWE. Just gone. Right after the Royal Rumble, right in the middle of the road to WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year, Punk said "I'm done," and he meant it. For 9 years, he stayed away. 9 years of silence. 9 years of interviews where he trashed WWE, where he talked about the politics, the toxicity, the way they treat their talent like disposable parts. He became a symbol. The guy who got out. The guy who chose himself over the machine. And we respected that. We loved him for that courage. But here's where the story gets twisted. Here's where the fairy tale starts to crack. November 25, 2023. Survivor Series. Chicago. The hometown hero returns. And the crowd goes absolutely nuclear. The United Center explodes with a sound that shakes the foundation. Grown men are crying. People are hugging strangers. CM Punk is back. The rebel has returned to the place he once called a prison. And in that moment, nobody cared about the contradictions. Nobody asked the hard questions. We were just happy to have him home. But let me ask you something. What changed? What made CM Punk decide that the company he once called toxic, the company he compared to a poisonous environment, was suddenly good enough for him again? Was it the money? Was it the glory? Was it the realization that maybe, just maybe, he needed WWE more than they needed him? Because that's the question nobody wants to answer. That's the uncomfortable truth sitting in the room that everyone's ignoring. CM Punk came back, and with that return, he became everything he once fought against. Now fast forward to right now. CM Punk isn't just back in WWE. He's aligned with Roman Reigns. Let that sink in for a second. Roman Reigns. The tribal chief. The head of the table. The chosen one. The guy WWE has been pushing as the face of the company for over a decade. The corporate champion. The establishment's golden boy. The exact type of wrestler that 2011 centimeters Punk would have destroyed on the microphone. And now they're standing together. Now they're working together. Now CM Punk, the voice of the voiceless, is sharing a locker room, sharing a vision, sharing a goal with the living embodiment of everything he once hated. You can feel the irony dripping off this situation like blood from a crimson mask. Roman Reigns never had to scratch and claw for opportunities. He's family. Literally. The Anoa'i dynasty. WWE royalty. He was protected, pushed, given main event after main event even when crowds booed him out of buildings for years. Remember WrestleMania 33? Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker? The crowd chanted "This is awful" and "Roman sucks" during a match with The Undertaker. The dead man. The legend. And Roman was still positioned as the hero. That's the definition of corporate wrestling. That's the machine at work. And CM Punk knew it. Old Punk would have had a field day with that. Old Punk would have cut the promo of a lifetime about how Roman represents everything wrong with WWE. But this isn't old Punk. This is new Punk. Comfortable Punk. Punk who signed the contract, who took the money, who came back not to change anything, but to fit in. And here's the thing that really stings, here's what makes this so painful for those of us who believed in what he stood for. Punk isn't just working with Roman. He's doing it with a smile. He's justifying it. He's changed the narrative in his own head to make it okay. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. Let me take you back to those promos from 2011. Punk talked about John Cena being the company guy, the merchandise mover, the guy who does what he's told and gets rewarded for it. He called Cena a hypocrite for claiming to be about hustle, loyalty, and respect while playing corporate politics behind the scenes. And you know what's wild? CM Punk has become a bigger company guy than Cena ever was. At least Cena was honest about loving WWE. At least Cena never pretended to be a rebel. Punk built his entire legacy on being the outsider, and now he's the ultimate insider. Think about the guy Punk used to be. He talked about ice cream bars and action figures like they were symbols of corporate sellout behavior. He mocked The Rock for leaving to make movies. He destroyed part-timers for taking spots from full-time wrestlers. And now Punk is 45 years old, coming back as a part-timer, taking a spot that could go to someone else, cashing in on nostalgia, selling merchandise, and working with the most protected wrestler on the roster. The transformation is complete. The rebel died, and in his place stands just another guy trying to grab his moment in the sun before the sun sets forever. Alright, real talk for a second. If you're still with me, if this is resonating with you, if you're feeling that mix of anger and sadness and confusion, hit that like button right now. Share this video with someone who needs to see it. Drop a comment and tell me, am I wrong? Is Punk a hypocrite or is this just evolution? Because SLAMZONE is a place where we have real conversations about wrestling, where we don't just cheer and boo, we think, we analyze, we feel. So subscribe, join this family, and let's keep having these conversations together. Now let's keep going because it gets even deeper. The thing about hypocrisy is that it's not just about contradicting your words, it's about betraying your principles. And CM Punk's principles were crystal clear. He stood for the guys who got overlooked. He stood for the indie wrestlers grinding in high school gyms. He stood for the idea that talent should matter more than politics, that hard work should matter more than who you know, that passion should matter more than pedigree. Those weren't just talking points. That was his brand. That was his identity. That was why we loved him. But look at what he's doing now. By aligning with Roman Reigns, by working within the system, by playing the game he once refused to play, Punk is sending a message to every young wrestler watching. And that message is simple: eventually, everyone bends the knee. Eventually, everyone compromises. Eventually, the revolution ends and you just become part of the establishment. That's a bitter pill to swallow. Here's where it gets really interesting from a storytelling perspective. Roman Reigns and CM Punk actually have more in common than you might think. Both are incredibly talented. Both are great on the microphone. Both have massive egos. Both believe they're the best in the world. But the difference is in how they got there. Roman was given the keys to the kingdom. Punk had to steal them. Roman was always the chosen one. Punk was always the one fighting the chosen one. That dynamic made them perfect enemies. So why are they allies now? Some people will say it's brilliant storytelling. Maybe Punk is using Roman. Maybe there's a long game here where Punk eventually turns on him and exposes the machine from the inside. Maybe this is all part of a master plan. But you know what? That feels like wishful thinking. That feels like fans trying to justify something that doesn't need justification beyond the simple truth. CM Punk came back for the paycheck and the spotlight, and he's willing to work with anyone to get both. The crowd reactions tell you everything you need to know. When Punk returned, Chicago erupted. But watch those crowds now. Watch when he's standing with Roman. There's confusion. There's hesitation. People want to cheer because it's Punk, but something feels off. Something feels wrong. Because deep down, everyone knows what this is. This is a legend cashing in his credibility. This is a revolutionary becoming a politician. This is a hero becoming the very thing he swore to destroy. And Roman? Roman doesn't need Punk. Let's be honest about that. The tribal chief has held the championship for over 1,200 days. He's beaten everyone. He's the final boss. He's the standard. Roman aligning with Punk doesn't elevate Roman, it elevates Punk. It gives Punk relevance. It gives Punk a storyline. It gives Punk a reason to be there. And maybe that's the saddest part of all. CM Punk, who once was the storyline, who once carried WWE on his back during the summer of 2011, now needs someone else's storyline to matter. Let's talk about what this means for wrestling as a whole. CM Punk's return was supposed to mean something. It was supposed to be a moment where the industry shifted, where WWE acknowledged that maybe, just maybe, they were wrong about some things, where talent mattered again, where the rebels could win. But instead, Punk's return has reinforced the exact opposite message. It's proven that WWE doesn't have to change. Everyone comes back eventually. Everyone compromises eventually. Everyone sells out eventually. You just have to wait them out. That's a dark realization for anyone who loves this business. Because if CM Punk, the most principled, most outspoken, most uncompromising wrestler of his generation, can become a corporate player, then what hope is there for anyone else? What's the point of standing up for what you believe in if you're just going to give up later? What's the point of being different if different doesn't last? I want to believe there's more to this story. I want to believe that Punk has a plan, that this alliance with Roman is temporary, that somewhere down the line he's going to drop the bomb and expose everything again. I want to believe that the rebel is still in there somewhere, just waiting for the right moment. But I've been watching wrestling long enough to know that's probably not true. The simple answer is usually the right one. CM Punk came back because he missed it, because he wanted one more run, because he's human and humans change their minds. And that's okay. That's allowed. But let's not pretend it's not hypocritical. Let's not pretend it's not exactly what he said he'd never do. The thing is, wrestling needs rebels. Wrestling needs people who shake things up, who question authority, who refuse to play the game. CM Punk was that person. For a brief, shining moment in 2011, he was the most important wrestler in the world because he dared to tell the truth. But truths have a shelf life in wrestling. Eventually, the truth becomes a work. Eventually, the rebel becomes the champion. Eventually, everyone becomes what they hated because that's how you survive in this business. So here we are. CM Punk and Roman Reigns. The rebel and the royal. The voice of the voiceless and the head of the table. The guy who left and the guy who never had to leave. Standing together. Working together. And whether you love it or hate it, whether you think it's brilliant or tragic, you can't deny that it's the perfect symbol of what happens when ideals meet reality. Punk chose reality. He chose the payday. He chose the spotlight. He chose to be part of the system. And honestly, maybe we should have seen this coming all along. Because here's the final truth, the one that hurts the most. CM Punk was never really anti-establishment. He was just anti-establishment until the establishment gave him what he wanted. He was a rebel until rebelling stopped serving him. He was the voice of the voiceless until he got his voice back. And now that he has it, now that he's back in the ring, back on the microphone, back in the spotlight, he's saying all the right things, working with all the right people, and doing exactly what WWE wants him to do. The revolution is over. The rebel has been absorbed. The voice has been silenced, not by force, but by choice. What a moment this is. What a fall from grace. What a transformation from the guy who walked out in 2014 to the guy who walked back in 2023. CM Punk became a hypocrite not in one moment, but in 1,000 small compromises. And his alliance with Roman Reigns is just the final nail in the coffin of what he used to represent. Before we wrap this up, I need you to do something. Hit that subscribe button. Share this video. Leave a comment telling me what you think. Because SLAMZONE is more than a channel, it's a family. It's a place where we love wrestling enough to criticize it, where we care enough to call out the hypocrisy, where we remember what these moments mean. So join us. Be part of this community. And let's keep having these real, raw, emotional conversations about the business we love. CM Punk is a hypocrite. There's no way around it. He became the thing he hated. He joined forces with the establishment. He compromised every principle he once stood for. And whether that makes him human or just another wrestler is up to you to decide. But one thing is certain, the CM Punk who sat on that stage in 2011 would be disgusted by the CM Punk standing in a WWE ring today. The rebel is dead. Long live the company man. This has been SLAMZONE, where we tell you the truth, even when it hurts. I'll see you in the next one.